Coming up on the Q30 Newscast, we're talking about the first woman exonerated from death row visiting campus.
And after that, we're going to learn about new astronomy class coming to Quinnipiac University on the telescopes.
And the university will be holding twilight hour tours.
All that and much more coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Hello, Bobcats, and welcome to the Q30 Newscast. I'm your host, Andrew Reynolds.
And I'm Keith Savage. Andrew, I'm excited to join you for your newscast debut. How are you feeling?
I'm pretty excited to be here tonight. We've got a lot of news to cover this week, so let's get right into it.
There are currently almost 2,500 inmates on death row in the United States on Monday. The university had a special visitor who shared her experience on death row.
Q30 Newscast executive producer Katie Cohen attended the event and has the story.
A speaker on campus this week changed students' perspectives on the criminal justice system. Sabrina Butler-Smith is the first woman to ever be exonerated from death row.
I was 17 years old when I was accused of killing my son. Tried, convicted, sentenced to death for a murder that never happened.
One night in April of 1989, she put her 9-month-old son to bed and went for a jog. When she returned, he was not breathing.
So I noticed then something was wrong. He wasn't breathing, so I panicked. And I grabbed my son and I ran outside.
She found a neighbor who started CPR, but it was the adult method. Bruises were found on her son's body when he got to the hospital. Then she was taken to a police station where she was forced to sign a false confession.
I was then charged with capital murder in the course of child abuse.
Sabrina was then found guilty of murder, and she was sentenced to death.
I didn't know what to do. They put me in a little cell, don't leave me in the bathroom, and shut me. That's where I sat for 2 years, 9 months.
Her case was retried. The medical examiner changed the cause of death from murder to kidney disease. She was exonerated. Now, Sabrina works with Witness to Innocence, an organization made up of exonerated death row inmates that travel across the country talking about their experiences.
A life sentence is the right thing. Because if you make a mistake, you can fix that. But if you give a person the death penalty and you kill that person, can you fix that? No, you cannot.
The event helped students understand how the criminal justice system works and showed them what they can do to help.
I'm hopeful that people will reflect upon what they've heard about. I'm hopeful that people will ask questions about our policies.
For Q30 News, I'm Katie Cohen.
The university announced that there will be a new criminal justice class that allows students to go to prison. The students will learn alongside incarcerated men and see firsthand what it's like to be in prison. Students will also learn how human identity and other factors affect punishment decisions. The class is set to take place in multiple Connecticut state prisons, including Gardner Prison in Newtown and the Carl Robinson Prison in Enfield. Applications for the class are now open. Q30's Joe Monty spoke to the professor of the class what students will have to will gain.
There's a lot of misconceptions about who's in prison. There's a lot of we learn a lot that's inaccurate from movies and from TV and from the media. The biggest thing they start to recognize and realize is that the people sitting next to them are people.
The class of 2023 have to set their alarms early on Halloween because it is registration day for them for the upcoming spring semester. The next day, the third-year students will register for classes. Second-year students registration will open on November 3rd, and first years will register last on November 4th. The spring term will run from January 23rd to May 12th.
Hartford Healthcare has announced additional dates for the flu clinics on campus. The additional clinics span across all 3 campuses of Quinnipiac. Starting with the clinic at the Center of Medicine, Nursing, and Health Sciences in room MNH 105 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Wednesday, October 12th. The second of the 3 additional clinics is on Thursday, October 13th from 8 a.m. to noon at the Rocky Top Student Center up on York Hill. And lastly, a clinic in the conference room inside the Student Health Services on the Mount Carmel campus from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Friday, October 21st. Advanced registration is required and is now open on MyQU.
On Thursday, the Student Government Association hosted an annual town hall in the Piazza. At this event, students were able to anonymously ask questions to representatives from One Stop and Public Safety. Those who attended could also speak to faculty members in person. Some students asked questions about the presence of public safety on Mount Carmel and the lack of officers on York Hill. And some also suggested that the university install security cameras in the student parking lots. Andrew, do you like telescopes?
I do. Why do you ask?
Because Q30 Newscast associate producer Tim Malone talked to physics professors who are promoting their new astronomy course by bringing their telescopes on campus. Check it out.
A new astronomy course is coming to Quinnipiac starting in the spring semester and will give students a hands-on opportunity to use telescopes. The idea of the course was a collaboration between Professor Robert Fischetti and Professor Nicole Granucci.
I came to Quinnipiac and there was no astronomy, so I said I need to fix that. And plus people are really excited, you know, not even just the students, but just faculty members are excited to be outside with a telescope.
To promote the course, Professor Fischetti and Professor Granucci have been taking telescopes onto the quad for any interested students passing by to engage with.
Well, so far, you know, it's so new, so I'm literally just putting it out there without any advertisement at the moment, just to see, like, you know, who comes up to the telescope and who's interested in it. When I actually make the announcement to bring it out, I want to have the best viewing, the best conditions, and to see the coolest things.
Although the class is a physics course, Professor Fischetti encourages any students interested in astronomy to take it, even if they are not in STEM.
It has no science or physics prerequisite. So we'll be covering a little bit of physics, but in a way that advances the conversation of astronomy.
Seeing the planets and the stars the way we can with the instruments that we have are unlike you've ever seen before. So come out and see it, even if it's just once. You don't have to come to every single one, but you'll remember it, and it's really cool.
The new astronomy course is titled Physics 111, so any students looking to learn more about astronomy should look out for it when planning their schedules this fall. For Q30 News, I'm Tim Malone.
Last week, in part with the university's Chief Experience Officer, first-year Senator Caitlin Sternhardt created a guide full of resources that she thinks first-year students may need. This guide includes everything from who to contact if first years are having personal issues on campus to how to track the QU shuttles. Q30 spoke to her about how she hopes her plan will help students who are struggling.
I think it'll make students feel more comfortable and more knowledgeable as well, as rather than going through multiple interfaces, they'll have it all in one. And there are a lot of great resources that Quinnipiac has. It could just be kind of crowded by all of the other information listed on MyQ, My Housing, Do You QU.
On Tuesday, Quinnipiac held its Fresh Check Day. The fair was made to uplift mental health that included pair-run interactive booths, free food, music, and giveaways. Its cause is to spread awareness about mental health, especially for college students, and show people that there are ways to reach out if you or someone you know are dealing with mental health.
One assistant professor of management here at Quinnipiac was recently elected to the Southern New England chapter of the Project Management Institute. As part of the program, Amy Peros is able to continue pursuing project management in and around New England. She uses that knowledge to create connections for students in the Bobcat Management Club. Q30 spoke to her about this achievement.
What the Southern New England chapter of PMI does is try to take membership and connect them with this vast network for career promotion, opportunities for professional development. We also have pathways with education through to industry certifications.
We're going to have to go to our first commercial break of the evening, but be sure you don't go anywhere.
Nessa Blasi will join us in studio for a politics update, and Samantha Pirelli talked to two health science professors about the importance of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Before we go anywhere, Mike Hanley is in studio for a sneak peek to the weather report. Mike, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys. Let's take a look at the 3-day weather forecast. So today we have a high of 70, low of 45, a couple clouds in the sky, but nothing too crazy. However, Thursday we're going to see some rain, high of 70 with a low of 55. Friday we're looking at something similar with, again, unfortunately more rain, but we're going to have a high of 68 and a low of 45. That's it for now. Stay tuned.
don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
He makes fun of his friend who vapes.
He would never try it.
She's into soccer.
She's on the honor roll.
She's just not the type.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping. Maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? I'm high. Oh.
Thanks for sticking with us through the break.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and many professors on campus think it's important to raise awareness all year round. Q30 Newscast associate producer Samantha Pirelli talked to two health science professors about the importance of early detection.
Although October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, after speaking to a few professors, let's see their insight on why October should not be the only time to raise awareness. While breast cancer is curable, it can all depend on when it was found and how much it's grown. Alicia Jaimo is a clinical professor for the Diagnostic Imaging Program, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years ago. But she wants people to be comfortable in asking questions and spreading awareness.
So I always have something pink on as a reminder. I think that people should talk about it. It's not a taboo subject. My hope is that as awareness grows, young women ask more questions.
In 2015, Sheila Maloney, a professor of nursing, was also diagnosed with breast cancer, and she mentions the significance of early detection.
Early detection with mammograms is life-saving. 20% reduction in death rates, according to international research studies, through screening mammography. And so I don't know of too many opportunities to reduce death rates by 20%, and that's just so important. It's life-saving. It's life-saving.
In addition, Professor Jaimo hopes that her students can learn about the importance of their future careers.
I hope that they're passionate and they love it, and they realize the impact that they can have on just one patient's life, even over their career if it was just one.
For Q30 News, I'm Samantha Pirelli.
Tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. there will be an LGBTQIA+ History Month teach-in. They will amplify the voices of the community. The event will have many presentations exploring the rich history, activism, personal stories of the LGBTQIA+ community at Quinnipiac and beyond. You can see the full schedule on your screen right now. More information on all the presentation is available on MyQ. Andrew, you know what time it is?
Yup, it's politics time.
It is. Vanessa Blasi's in studio for the politics update. Vanessa, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Keith and Andrew. With only one more month until Election Day, a lot has been going on this week in politics. Starting in Hawaii, former Democratic candidate for the 2020 presidential election, Tulsi Gabbard, has announced she's leaving the Democratic Party. She made this announcement on Tuesday. Gabbard represented Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District from 2013 to 2021. She posted a video announcing her departure on Twitter. Let's take a look at what she said.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism.
Speaking of elections, on Tuesday night, President Joe Biden told CNN that he will not make a decision on running for re-election until after midterms. Biden did say that he is confident if he faced off with former President Donald Trump, again, he would win. Yet, according to the newest ABC News and Washington Post survey, 48% of Americans are backing Biden and 46% are backing Trump. The survey also shows that many Americans may be looking elsewhere for Democratic candidates in 2024. Only 35% of Democrats say they'll be voting for Biden, yet more than 55% say they want to pick someone else. Biden says that first they must focus on the midterms before anything else. And for our last story of the night, President Joe Biden finalizes a new plan to open up Obamacare subsidies to more families next year. This plan will fix the family glitch issue, which affects nearly 5.1 million Americans, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. Now, family members of workers who are offered unaffordable family policies will now get subsidies on Obamacare exchanges. Biden makes this announcement on Tuesday, less than 1 month away from the start of open enrollment for 2023 coverage on the Obamacare exchanges. This rule will go into effect in January 2023 if it is finalized. But families can begin registration on November 1st. That's all I have for politics this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Vanessa, for the politics update. We're going to have to step aside for our second commercial break.
Coming up, Mike Hanley will give us a 7-day weather report, and we will talk about what happened at Fall Fest 2022.
Joe Monty will join us to provide us with the most recent national news update. Don't go anywhere.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Jules, spot on this last one. There it is.
Keep going with it. Leo. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfie, nailed it. We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Thanks for sticking with us.
In studio, we have Mike Hanley here for the 7-day weather report. Mike, how's the weather looking for the week?
How's it going, guys? In general, weather's looking a little iffy. So let's get started. Right now we have Wednesday. Sorry, wrong side. We have Wednesday. It's going to be a high of 70 and a low of 45. We're looking at some cloudy skies, but nothing we can't really handle. Thursday, same story. However, we have a little bit of rain going on. So unfortunately, we're going to have to face that with a high of 70 and a low of 55. Similar things happening on Friday with a high of 68, low of 45, but it's going to be raining again, unfortunately. However, things are finally going to be looking a little bit nicer with a high of 66 and a low of 46 on Saturday with really nice sunny skies. Sunday, we're looking at 69-degree high, 45-degree low. Some clouds in the sky, but nothing that's going to scare us off. So let's take a look at Monday. On Monday, we have 59-degree high, low of 45. Really just not the best day to do anything, so try to stay indoors. Finally, Tuesday, 57 high, 39-degree low, our first 30. It's going to be interesting to see. Let's take a look at the big map. So up in Torrington, it is 57 degrees. Hartford, a little bit warmer with 60. Norwich, we're looking at 54 degrees. Danbury, 59. New Haven, right around the block from us, is going to be 62 degrees, which is a little bit warmer, but really hitting that low temperature that we're kind of expecting to see around now. Finally, New London, we're going to see 59 degrees. Let's take it back to the desk. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Mike. Fall Fest took place last Sunday on the Quad. The event was hosted by WQAQ and SPB and included musical guest Double Camp as an opener, and the headliner was Mark E. Basie. There were food trucks, games, and activities like a rock climbing wall, bouncy houses, and lawn games. Last year, the musical appearances for the event were Grayson Wolf, Rebecca Black, and Trevor Daniel. Fall Fest did not happen in 2020 due to COVID-19.
Professor Scazzo and his students were given the CAS Experimental Learning Grant for their course on globalization development and on colonism, which allowed them to travel to New York and visit the Metropolitan Museum. Students were to locate colonial legacies, acquire evidence, and think about how to write a research paper for the class as part of an assignment after a guided tour of the museum.
We are following some breaking news tonight on the Q30 Newscast. Conspiracy theorist Alex Jones will have to pay almost $1 billion to the family of Sandy Hook victims for spreading falsehoods about the 2012 school shooting. Jones repeatedly claimed on his media platform that the massacre was a hoax. His trial in the Waterbury courthouse went on for 17 days. This came after he was ordered to pay almost $50 million to victim in Texas. Jones' lawyer publicly announced they will be appealing the outcome of this trial.
Keith, it is time for a national update.
It is. Joe Monty is here to tell us all about the recent news. Joe, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Keith and Andrew. We've got news from sea to shining sea this week, starting on the topic of gas prices. They're on the rise again. Last week, OPEC agreed to cut oil and gas production despite there being a rise in demand. This has led to a jump in petroleum prices. As colder months approach, not only will Americans feel pain at the pump, but homeowners can expect to spend more money to heat their homes. Some Democrats in Congress want to punish Saudi Arabia for cutting oil production, claiming that the Saudis committed a hostile act. Republicans continue to push for American energy independence, claiming that if the United States produced its own energy, Americans wouldn't feel global price spikes. On Sunday, 3 Louisiana men were rescued by the Coast Guard after their boat sank off of the Louisiana coast. The search spanned over 1,250 square miles, utilizing 2 boats, 2 planes, and a helicopter. The search began after a concerned family member reported that the men had not returned from their fishing trip on Saturday evening. The men spent over 24 hours in shark-infested waters and actually had to fend off sharks. 2 of the men sustained injuries on their hands, but they were all reported to be in stable condition. On a happier note, the National Park Service announced on Tuesday that tourists are allowed to enter the Statue of Liberty's crown after lifting a COVID-19 restriction that has been in place since March of 2020. This is the first time that tourists have been able to climb to the top of Lady Liberty since the beginning of the pandemic. Tickets to visit Lady Liberty's crown have already almost sold out for the rest of October. According to the Park Service, the climb is about 10 stories in full and is not capable of being fully navigated by elevator. So if you plan to visit, get ready to walk. That's all I've got for national news. I'm Joe Monty. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Joe. We are going to enter one last commercial break tonight.
But you won't want to miss Clever Strikes on the Sports Report and the outcome of the pumpkin carving event that was held earlier today.
Olivia Cattell will also talk about the new Twilight Tours Quinnipiac is giving.
Don't go anywhere.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Meet the scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
I think it's just vapor with flavor.
It won't hurt my kid like cigarettes, right?
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
My kid?
My kid knows it's dangerous.
Get your head out of the cloud. Today, nearly 8,000 kids will start vaping, maybe even yours. Learn about the dangers at talkaboutvaping.org.
Welcome back to Studio 125.
With us, we have Clever Strikes for the Sports Report. Clever, what has been happening in sports?
Thanks so much, guys. Let's get down to business. The men's ice hockey team welcomed LIU to the M&T Bank Arena on Sunday. The Bobcats wanted to keep momentum after a season-opening beatdown of Boston College, but things were not as easy against the Sharks. The final was a 2-2 tie. Quinnipiac's Colin Graff and Christophe Tellier supplied goals for a 2-0 lead in the first 2 frames, but the Tides quickly turned in the third period. LIU's Chris Pappas and Anthony Vincent found the back of the net to mount a comeback. The game finished with the Bobcats winning the shootout, but the record for the number 8 Bobcats will shift to 1-0-1. The Quinnipiac Bobcats will look to regroup this weekend before 2 ranked matchups against number 3 North Dakota on the road. Switching locker rooms but staying on the ice, Quinnipiac women's ice hockey built on an undefeated start with 2 wins against St. Anselm. The Bobcats outscored the Hawks 13-2 throughout the home and away weekend. Graduate Shane Maloney recorded a third-period hat trick to rout St. Anselm on Friday 6-1, and the Bobcats' power play came up big on Saturday's 7-1 blowout with 3 conversions on the man advantage. The Bobcats will walk into ECAC hockey play 6-0 this Saturday. They'll meet number 13 Harvard in Cambridge to see if that win can increase to 7. Speaking of ranked opponents, Quinnipiac field hockey hosted the number 9 St. Joseph's Hawks on Sunday. The Bobcats came up short 4-1 in the loss, which is their 6th in a row. Senior Rachel Papernick scored the lone Bobcats goal as the teams went into halftime tied 1-1. But the 3 unanswered goals for the Hawks in the second half was enough to put the game away. Quinnipiac's next contest is this Friday, where the Georgetown Hoyas will travel to Hamden. One team's 0-4 Big East record will finally snap, as both quads will finally seek their first conference win of the season. That is your Quinnipiac Sports Report for the week. I will send it now to you guys back at the desk.
Thank you, Clover. There was a pumpkin carving competition in the Piazza today. The event was held by Hartford Healthcare. Quinnipiac students and Connecticut's Orthopedic Institute competed against each other and had 1 hour to carve. The judges voted for the spookiest and most creative pumpkin. Andrew, have you ever heard of a Twilight tour for a college tour?
I've never heard of that, Keith.
It is indeed cool. Q30 executive producer Olivia Cattell talks all about the Twilight tours that Quinnipiac is offering.
This semester, Quinnipiac University admissions launched a new kind of campus tour called Twilight Tours. This allows students and families to see the campus in a different light. Tonight was the 3rd and final tour of the season. Twilight Tours work to accommodate students who are busy during the day while allowing them to experience the beauty of Mount Carmel campus at night.
Gives students a chance to get to Quinnipiac at another time. We also want to take advantage of campus, right? Like, it's beautiful sunset kind of right behind Sleeping Giant. Like, it's a gorgeous campus. We want to take advantage of the natural setting.
Because traditional tours are offered on weekdays during the day, it can be difficult for students to visit.
It's a way to really engage with kind of local students from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, that they can still get here after school, get here for the tour, come back the same night. But unlike if it was during their school day when they had other priorities, like certainly being in school, it's a way for them to get to campus.
These tours are also a way for Quinnipiac to stay up to date and stand out in the admission process for students.
There are other institutions, colleges, and universities that have Twilight tours as well. Some of our direct competitors in New England, for instance, have done them, and you know, it's a way for us to kind of keep up with what else is out there.
Tour guides have heard positive feedback from visitors on campus.
Gets to give the students a perspective of what QU looks like when it's winding down, the sun is setting, you get to look at the quad.
The admissions department plans to resume tours in the spring. For Q30 News, I'm Olivia Cattell.
Are you a fan of sunsets?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's been pretty nice here at Quinnipiac, seeing all the sunsets, especially with all the foliage.
It's always something great to see, to like end off a day great. Like, you can't complain when you see a sunset, don't you agree?
No, especially with all the beautiful, like, you know, like the nice orange color blending in with the orange sunset. I mean, what's there to complain about?
This just makes your day from here to here.
Yeah.
But that's all the time we have for this week. But be sure to keep up with all of our content on Q30TV.com or download the Q30 TV app.
And follow us on Twitter at Q30 News for all of the Quinnipiac updates. I'm Andrew Reynolds.
And I'm Keith Savage. To the producers and everyone behind the scenes, thank you and good night.